So I kind of ended up with this giant hotel room because things are so cheap in Laos. And honestly, I'm not complaining because I am a little bit sick after Thailand. I thought it was allergies, but now I'm thinking I just had a cold. And yeah, I just needed to slow down a little bit. So I didn't really care too much about seeing the capital, to be honest. I'm more here for the nature part. So I just, shut it off for the day and relaxed. And it was amazing, to be honest.
Okay, so turns out you actually see all the nice sights in Vientiane from the airport to the train station. So I didn't really have to do anything. For anyone taking the train in Vientiane, very simple, very straightforward, and you get beautiful views on the way to Luang Prabang, where I ended up for a little bit. So from Luang Prabang, I just kind of had a little simple meal, and then the next day I left for Nong Kiao. The roads are really crazy getting there. I would recommend the river cruise on the way there because I did that on the way back and it was really nice. So I eventually got to Nong Kiao and did a very vertical hike so that I could go camping on top of this mountain. It was very beautiful. I met two lovely ladies from the UK. They were so sweet and we had some lovely chats while we looked and watched the sunset. It was honestly such a nice feeling when you wake up to these views. Now I took another 15-minute tuk-tuk and got to a little spot where we began a long hike to a homestay for the night. Now, this hike was a lot less vertical, which was much better for my legs, and we just relaxed. And actually it ended up being a very quiet walk because it was just me and one other person who signed up, and he was this German fellow, this young guy, and he wasn't much of a chatter, so we just kind of walked quietly for 7 hours, and it was nice. And we stopped halfway through for some lunch at this local village, and it was so tasty. The women there made us some food, and it kind of thunderstormed really bad during lunch, which was actually kind of entertaining, and we just had a little nap with the family. So eventually the rain slowed down enough that we could start walking again. We were technically supposed to do this kind of jungle trek, but they decided to stay on the main road just because it was too washed out for the moment. But it was so serene and beautiful. A nice contrast to being in the city for sure. And after a long while, we eventually got to our homestay, and it was quite the view, as you can see. Eventually, this kind of group of French people showed up, and they're really loud, so I just hung out in my little cabana thing. But it was still very nice in the morning, very quiet. And we took a boat ride down the river. We did a few more things the next day. So we actually did a little hike up a mountain to see some historical caves. So these caves were used as a refugee point during the war when there was bombings. So very interesting for sure. And then we went a little bit further up and we could get a nice little view from the top, above the caves, I guess you could say. And then we went down to the village. And yeah, it was a little bit touristy down there, but still enjoyed it. It was a nice little walk. We had some lunch, and then we ended up doing another hike to a waterfall. Saw lots of cows along the way, and of course I swam in the waterfall because you can't not swim in a waterfall. Come on, guys. I headed back to Nong Kiao, and I actually stayed in one place for 4 nights, which is not normally what I do, but it was so relaxing. I just read, and I'm writing another novel, so I was working on that and stayed in this little tiny hut thing, and it was so good. I just ate my heart out. I ate so much food. I was just stuffed every day, enjoying all the views and just soaking up life. It was just so pretty. Highly recommend on Cal. On the way back, I didn't do the main road to get back because I learned my lesson. So I did a riverboat excursion thing to get back, which I actually didn't even read anything. And I thought it was literally just a boat ride, and it turned out there was a lot of side excursions. So, for example, we stopped at this elephant sanctuary to eat, just elephants everywhere. And then we went up to these caves, and there was this beautiful temple with like a million gajillion Buddhas everywhere. People bring. You had to kind of hike up to the top part of the temple, and it was pretty steep, but honestly, not too bad. I needed the exercise. I'd been eating so much, And we eventually stopped at like a little brewery thing. It was like a whiskey brewery. I don't drink, so it wasn't like that interesting to me, but it was cool, I guess. We watched the sunset as we entered Luang Prabang, and because it's burning season, there's always like a little bit of smoke everywhere, which is honestly, it's a vibe. I like it. So it was very beautiful. And then I stayed in this little like cabana thing in the middle of like the jungle, which was very peaceful and a great place to write because I'm still working on that book. And then the last night, I just walked to the night market and actually ended up seeing this Buddhist show. It's called Buddhist Light, and it was honestly quite the production. I obviously didn't record much of it because I was enjoying it, but highly recommend. So yeah, visit Laos, guys. It's a great place for solo travelers like myself.